It's me again, everybody. Earlier, I posted. I'll my window up just a little bit. Earlier, I posted on Facebook this meme, or like I shared this thing about. I hope I can say this right. I sometimes pronounce words wrong, not intentionally either. Cognitive dissonance is the brain's what I read. I'm going to give my short interpretation of what I read. Is that it's the brain's short circuiting as it tries to fit together reality and what you have thought was reality. When you finally realize that something was not real, or that your whole way of thinking was not real. I watched this intervention. This girl, her father, her biological father and mother split up when she was just a baby. And the mother married very quickly. She was still just a toddler, like a little small child. And her whole life she grew up believing that this man was her father. Nobody ever told her any different. Her mother said that she was, trying to find the right time and the right way to explain to her and to tell her, why she hadn't told her the truth throughout her life. Well, when she was about 16, she was in this town one day and she was walking around in the street, in the store or whatever. And this man came up and asked her her name, and he told her that he was her father. And she was like, "No, you're not. I don't know who you are." And he's like, "Yes, your mom's name is this, and your grandparents." And he told her the whole story. Well, that's kind of what she went through at that moment. Everything she had believed, everything she had learned, suddenly was no longer real. And her brain couldn't put it all together. It's like if you're looking at the color green all of your life and somebody says, "That's not green, that's blue, or that's red, or that's purple." You're like, "No, it's not. All your life you've seen it, You've seen one thing, or not, maybe not even all of your life. This happens in relationships such as narcissistic relationships. This happens. You meet this person. Everything they tell you, they spin this great, wonderful story. It's a fantasy. Imagine the Wizard of Oz. She goes on this journey and she meets all these different characters, and then she wakes up. She was having a dream, but then there's the Scarecrow. There is this character and that character, and they're all real people. So she's kind of like, was it really fantasy or was it really real? You kind of, it's like you're on the outside looking in at it. It's kind of like you've been living in this world that you've imagined for yourself or someone else has spun, and then suddenly it's not real. And you're sitting there and your brain is telling you this is not real, but your other side of your brain is saying, it has to be real. How could the feelings that I had inside of my heart for somebody, those feelings were real. You felt the real feeling that you felt was real. But the reason you felt that way was fake. When you meet someone, you begin a relationship with them, and they start to tell you, "I'm starting to have feelings for you. I'm starting to have love for you." And they're making you feel that way about them. And you start to believe that you're in love with them, and you probably really are in love with them. You probably really are feeling everything, but the whole story and the whole reason for it is fake. The person, everything they said to you, they didn't feel. Narcissists don't feel love. They don't feel emotional attachment. I watched this guy on YouTube. I just happened upon his live on Sunday for like 10, it was probably like a 20 or 30 minute live. And I've watched him before, but I just happened upon him as his live was just beginning. I just happened to click on YouTube. And I decided to watch. And he's talking about relationships with a narcissist. A single person. They want love. They want a relationship with somebody. When they go out, when their girlfriends or their friends or buddies fixes them up on a date, they're hoping that maybe this person is somebody who will lead into a relationship, because everybody wants to be with somebody. Nobody really wants to be alone. So for all you single people who are hearing me, how many dates did you go on that turned out to be disasters, or this was not the person, you didn't have anything in common with them, or you were unattracted to them, or you were just completely turned off by them, or you did start kind of liking them, but then all of a sudden they, oh, I'm seeing somebody else or whatever. But imagine somebody fixes you up on a date and he's everything, or she is everything that you are looking for. They like the same music. They like the same shows. They like the same travel. They like the same everything as you. Everything, food, everything. It's like you're looking in a mirror. Well, that's exactly what you're doing, because that's exactly what a narcissist does. They mirror you. You're so overjoyed to meet somebody who's so funny and fun, and who you can have such a flowing, easy conversation with, that it just all seems so unreal, and it's so great. And you're sitting there, you're listening, and you're talking a mile a minute. They're so easy to open up to. And you're telling them everything about yourself. And they're saying back to you, really? You like AC/DC? I love AC/DC. I'm just throwing something out there, You love raw steak, or you like steak cooked raw with mushrooms. That's my favorite food. They are mirroring you back to you. So you're falling in love, or you're at least becoming attracted to and starting to enjoy somebody who's not even real. They're just, everything they're saying back to you is a parrot. They're mimicking. They're saying, it's like an echo, and that's exactly where the echo comes from. I talked about Narcissus in Greek mythology. Well, Echo, he fell in love with, okay, I can't remember the story exactly. Narcissus fell in love with his own image. Echo, he searched for Echo. She would call out and he could hear it, and like the echo, 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 echo. He could hear it. But upon his journey, he looked in the water. He come upon a stream or brook, and he looked in his own reflection, and he fell in love with himself. And he couldn't move. He couldn't go in search of Echo anymore. He couldn't go in search of anybody but himself. So when a narcissist is telling you everything about you, or you're telling them stuff about yourself, and they're echoing it back to you, it's just them looking in, it's just you looking in the mirror. You're falling in love with your own self. You're falling in love with your own self because everything that they've said to you is something you just said to them, only you don't realize it because you're just enjoying them so much. And you go home, you go home that first night after that first meeting with them, and you're so overwhelmed and you can't believe it, and all. I've went out on dates, and I've been married, and I've had different relationships, and they all fell apart, and this guy is the real deal, or this woman is the real deal. They are so perfect for me. And then they start to tell you these great stories. We're going to go, as you spend more and more time with them, and they're just like so into you, and they start to ask you what you like and what you want. And then they start to break apart all your other relationships. They start to tell you, oh, this person over here, they should have treated you better. They shouldn't have did this to you. Or they should have taken you on that trip that you wanted to go on. Anything that you tell them, they use it as ammunition or as data collecting is what it's called. And they just play it back to you like on a reel, like on a replay. And then they make future faking. Now, I said the other day, I made a video, and I said I was going to talk about future faking. Future faking is when the narcissist promises, empty promises, just like CMC promises all these people become a supporter, and next month you're going to be entered into a prize drawing, and it never happens. And they sit there and they wait. Today's the day. She's going to draw today. Am I going to be the winner of the $50 or $100 or the shopping trip or the pallet or whatever other stuff she's promised? And it never happens. And you're sitting there going, when is she going to do the drawing? And when one person dares to ask her, she says, I'm going to wait and do it on this date. That's more future faking. They fake plans. They fake ideas. They tell you, I can use my own story as an example. I've talked about him on my YouTube channel about the type of work that he did. He could have gotten a job pretty much any kind of, anywhere. And he would tell me, well, I got some buddies and they went out here and they got jobs working at this job in Colorado or Idaho or Montana or Wyoming or wherever. And they want me to come out there and work. And I'm thinking about it. And what if I asked you to go with me? What would you do? Well, by this point, you're so into them and you can't imagine that they would be thousands of miles away. So you're like, well, sure, if you called me up and wanted me to go with you, I'd quit my job, I'd load up my vehicle with everything I could pack, and I would hit the road with you. But it's all smoke and mirrors. You're willing, they're testing you to see if you're willing to say, yes, I would walk away from everything for you. I would give up everything that I have and everything that I have worked for, and I would give up my home and my job, and I would leave my family behind, and I would go to be with you. But they're future faking because they don't have no intentions of doing that. It's all fantasy. They have no intentions of following through with anything that they tell you. He never even followed through with the simplest of things, like telling me that these guys that he worked with and their wives all like to get together maybe like once a month, and they would all get together like on a Saturday night and go out to like a local bar and grill type restaurant where they serve alcohol, and everybody would just kind of sit around and talk and just be like social, like a social get together. Well, he never did that. That never happened. I doubt very much that this happened because of the work hours that they all had. But even if they did, I doubt he would have been invited, because I'd say none of them couldn't stand him. But he imagined that he let me imagine that fantasy, and it was future faking. The next time they all get together, we're going to go with them. We're going to go out. We're going to go here and there and do this and that. And we never did anything. I mean, yeah, we would get out and do stuff together on the weekends or whatever when he wasn't working. But it wasn't nothing. It wasn't nothing no different than what you do with anybody else on the weekends. There was no grand, fantasy world out there that he was creating. Future faking is when they lead you, especially if they start to see you kind of pulling away and they start to think that maybe you're starting to see through them. They have to make the fantasy bigger and more fantastically exciting, and oh, I better hang in there because they're going to give me so much and do so much for me and take me on all these great trips, and we're going to get married and we're going to just have this wonderful life together. Well, no, that's never going to happen, and if you do marry them, you're going to end up really, really screwed up when you finally figure it out. And that's kind of what this cognitive dissonance is. It's like your mind saying, did that really just happen? No, that couldn't have happened. That couldn't have been a lie. They couldn't have been making all that up. My heart told me that they loved me. My heart told me that they were this great person. My heart loved them, but they didn't love me, and you start to figure it out. But even it's kind of almost your brain's way of protecting you in a way. You see these people who maybe have memory problems about a big accident of some kind, or rape victims or something like that, and they're like trying to remember, but it's kind of like their brain's way of protecting them in a way that you can't imagine something like that could actually be real. And what you thought was real wasn't real. So it's like your brain is saying that was real, but this wasn't. And this was real, but that wasn't. And you're right stuck in the middle, like, what is real and what is not real, And it's up to you to figure it out. And eventually, you do figure it out. And then comes first there's like pain, and there's like, oh my God. And you're still wanting that fantasy and that love that you felt to be real. You still want that. You still want them to be the real person that they told you they were and that you believed that they were. But eventually you have to start to say, this wasn't real. This didn't happen. The future faking and all that was fantasy. It was all made up. It was all a test of the narcissist. And this guy that I watched on Sunday, what he was saying was, you're going out on these dates, you're getting hooked up, you're meeting people online or whatever to try to meet somebody to have a relationship with, to have a future with, to get married, to have babies, to have a partner in life, to be loved. And the narcissist is looking for a soul to steal. They're just like the devil went down to Georgia and he was looking for a soul to steal. They want to take everything from you. If you're willing to give up your home and your partner that you may be with, or your family and friends, and turn your back on everything, they're going to take you away from all that if you're willing to go, and then they're going to get you someplace. Maybe not physically, but mentally and emotionally. You've broken up friendships. You've broken up family relationships. You've believed all the lies that he's told you or she's told you about all those people, and you're mad at them, and you don't want to hear from them anymore, and you're devoting all of your attention and time to the narcissist, and then all of a sudden he starts to talk to you like a dog, and he starts to say, you're not this great person that you want everybody else to think, and they start to devalue you and demean you. This is around the time that the physical stuff starts to happen. Some people may end up physically abused. I wasn't. Narcissists, there are some sociopath narcissists who are violent. Some will create violence just to make themselves look like a victim. If they can get you angry enough that you lash out and strike at them, they can become the victim all of a sudden. And a lot of times it's sexual. And the sexual demeaning and the sexual, it's not just demeaning and it's not just physical harm to you, but also they begin to like turn away from you. They're no longer interested in you. And anybody who's been in a relationship, a new, enjoyable, loving, romantic, lustful, hot, exciting relationship, knows that the sex and the physical attraction does not end that quickly. And they don't just stop kissing you. They don't stop hugging you. They don't stop holding your hand. They don't stop wanting to be with you. But the narcissist will. Maybe because they've already found someone else to fulfill that physical need they have. They're over here feeding them this line of BS that they fed you, and they're getting ready to just put you in such a mental state of just, I don't even know how to explain it. You just end up in this like, what's happening here? Why don't they want to go to bed with me? Why don't they want to touch me? Why don't they want to be with me and kiss me? And you're left kind of feeling like you're not worthy. And you must be doing something wrong. It has to be you, because they're demeaning you and devaluing you in every other part of your life. And then they've got you where they want you. Who do you turn to? Do you turn to those family and friends that you turned your back on? And that tried to warn you about what a horrible person they really are, and how they lie, and they see them for what they really are, but you don't. So you told your family and friends to screw off because this person over here was the truthful one. Then you start to figure out that they weren't truthful. And then you're kind of like left with your brain mixed up to the point that you don't know what was right and what was wrong and what was real and what was fake. And so he, the guy in the YouTube, he just described it as like the narcissist wants to take your soul. They just want you so beaten down and so left just worthless feeling. They want all the people that you once loved and cared for to doubt you. They want to leave you without anybody to turn to. They want to leave you penniless if they can. They want to leave you homeless if they can. They want to leave you possibly physically changed. I've spoken about this when I was with the man that I was involved with. I was on this health kick, and I was working out and eating healthy and walking and jogging, taking care of myself, and was just really, I had lost quite a bit of weight, and I was just really healthy and feeling great about myself. And every day I looked forward to getting up and going and doing all that. Then he comes along, and I start talking to him. He suddenly, the times that I would set aside to go walk or run, I was wanting to go see and be with him. And then he wanted to take me out to eat, and he wanted to drink beer, and he wanted to eat pizza and all this stuff, and eat late night, snacks. And I didn't do that. But I was doing it because I wanted to prove to him that he was more important to me than all of that, So I started finding myself, what am I doing? Why am I eating this food? Why am I doing this? Why didn't I go why didn't I go for my jog? Why did I spend my lunch break with him instead of at the track or at the walking trails or paths that I did every day? They want you to prove your loyalty. They want you to prove your willingness to do whatever it is that they ask of you, or they don't even ask it of you. They just kind of, well, here it is. You can either be with me or you can go do that. And if you say, well, I'm going to go do that, then they're going to give you the cold shoulder. They're going to ignore you. They're going to huff up like a little, kid throwing a temper tantrum and not answer your texts or not call you back. And then you're going to go crawling up to them with your tail between your legs, begging for their attention again. The aftermath of a relationship with a with a narcissist is both. It's just like any other breakup. You go through the breakup. The relationship's over. They're either off with somebody else, or you just break up and you just go your separate ways, or you might fight with each other. But on top of the normal breakup, you're also dealing with this cognitive, this realization in your mind that you've been taken, you've been scammed, you've been tricked, you've been conned, you have been manipulated into that, and none of it was ever real on their part. They created this fantasy, they created this whole scenario that they got you to believe. They got you to fall for it. And, okay, you fell for it. They used you for whatever they could get out of you, sex or money or just attention for themselves, to kill the boredom of their lives. And then they went through the whole devaluing and demeaning and putting you down and making you feel worthless and making you, you changed your whole way of living for them, and now suddenly you're alone and you're left to pick it all up on your own. And if you're very, very lucky, as I was, you have one or two people who didn't turn their back completely, who understood that you were being mistreated by somebody else and stuck around to be there for you when you finally did, snap out of it, so to speak. And it takes a long time to finally heal that part of your brain where it's no longer fantasy versus reality, and it's just all, okay, I get it now, and now I have to heal from it. Well, I'm here to say this. I hope you all that come here to watch me, the couple, 2 or 3 of you that do, 2022, and I'm not going to say like January 1st, 2022 at 1:03 a.m. or whatever. I'm not going to say a specific time or anything like that. But my focus going forward into 2022 is going to be to finally move on from it. And I mean, if I come here and make videos, then I will continue to talk about narcissism. But him, the man that I was with, he's no longer... He holds nothing for me anymore. It's so far removed from reality for me now. It's like it was like I was watching a movie or a reality show or something that turned out to be, which I was watching a reality or a fake fantasy show or whatever. And it's time to let it go. It happened to me. It was a part of my life for a period of time. He continued, he went through the whole Hoover and all that. But unless he should show up in my life again, trying his trickery on me again, his sorcery, I have nothing left to talk about him. It was what it was. He is who he is. He's off somewhere right now doing it to somebody else. And it's time to leave it in the past. That person, the story and the narcissistic awareness, no, I will continue to talk about that. But I'm so happy today to say that he's just no longer anybody who I even care to talk about anymore, you know. And I appreciate everybody for sticking around. I know this was a long video. I didn't mean for it to be. And I do have to get on with my day because I do have quite a bit of stuff to do today. But thanks for watching. And thanks for always, you know, being there to hear me rant. And I hope that I helped somebody. I know people don't like to stick around for these very long videos. So I'm going to start trying to keep it a little shorter. Thank you all.